Hello, this is Ignorance is Bliss. I'm Farah.
I'm Lisa.
And I'm Hodan.
So today, guys, we are discussing prominent figures and how they have utilised their platforms. The reason why we're talking about this today is because we feel that the media tends to focus on celebrities and prominent figures that have got it wrong. So we're going to focus on individuals that have got it right. So we'll start off with you, Hodan. Who are you discussing today?
Yeah, so there's a couple of people that come to mind. Jesse Williams, Colin Kaepernick, for civil rights activist kind of reasons. And I think that's really prominent in today's kind of climate. So I think they're fantastic. But I am going to go for Halima Aden. I'm Somali and she's Somali, but that's not the only reason. I think she's absolutely fantastic. She's really sassy, really positive, and I think her story is really inspiring. She, for those of you who don't know her story, she was born in a refugee camp in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, and she spent 7 years of her life there. And what they would do is they would wait to hear news about whether or not they would be the family that's chosen to have become refugees in the USA. And she was really lucky one year as she was 7, and her family got news that they're allowed to go off, and they're one of the privileged families that are going to be able to go off and live in America. And she talks about being really excited. There, she's the first model or person, actually she's not a model yet, first woman, hijabi woman, to take part in a Miss USA pageant. As a hijabi, she wears a burkini in the segment that they usually wear a bikini, and that made lots and lots of moves. So from that she became a trailblazer, and in 2017 she debuted in New York Fashion Week after being the first hijabi model and modest model to be signed to IMG Models, which is one of the biggest modelling agencies in America. She went on to be in Yeezy's show, which is really interesting because Yeezy is really edgy, and the models are known to be quite, some of them, they're quite edgy, but they're not known for modesty, etc. So that was groundbreaking. And in 2018 she became the UNICEF ambassador. She's done lots of other charity walks for various causes, and I just think she's I think she's fantastic. I think she's brought really good publicity to Muslims who sometimes find it hard to find their way in mainstream media, and she's encouraged young girls who look like her, who wear a hijab, to see themselves as beautiful. I think she's got a great spirit. She's always happy in her interviews, and it's really nice to see the full circle. Receiving help from UNICEF in that refugee camp in Kenya to being the UNICEF ambassador, helping other children in Kenya, I think is absolutely phenomenal. And I think she uses her platform really well. So yes, well done to Halima Aden. I think you're great. As if she's watching our video, I think you're great.
Just going on from refugees, the individual that I want to talk about is Gary Lineker. So Gary Lineker, we all know him in the UK as a footballer, really famous, really prominent figure. Most recently on Twitter, he was called out by an individual because he expressed empathy towards refugees that were travelling from the Channel, from Calais. So an individual called him out and said, what are you doing about it, Gary? Have you housed any? And then he replied with a screenshot from a charity called Refugees at Home. So he signed up to this charity, and this charity puts you in contact with a refugee that you can house on a temporary basis. He's doing something about it, and in the coming weeks he's due to have someone live with him in his Surrey home, which I think is incredible because he has also done a lot for refugees in general, which I did not know about. He's met lots of refugees. There's a really interesting clip that I will include, and he makes reference to how Britain wouldn't be Britain without refugee influence, and he thinks that the British government are quite heartless and they're not doing enough. So I just think it's great that he's utilising his platform. He's a footballer, but he's obviously talking about social issues, and he's trying to do something about it, which I think is incredible.
I didn't know about that at all, but hearing about it, actually in his own home, I think is an epitome of hospitality.
Absolutely, and he has no idea where these people are coming from. He doesn't know who the individual is, what country they're coming from. All he knows is that they're a refugee,
and they need help.
And they need help, and he's opened up his home to these individuals, which I think is incredible.
Yeah, I'm rating Gary. Gary's on my list now.
Because he has not only shed light on this issue and is raising awareness on his platform, but he's also doing it himself. He's not just talking about it.
He's not just showing empathy or talking about the issue. He's actually doing something about it. So actually opening your home up to someone is
I wonder how that person felt who actually sent that tweet. like, what are you doing about it, Gary, in order for like him to come back and say, actually, you know.
But I think good on you.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he's been asked about it a number of times in different interviews, and he doesn't want to discuss it because he has said that he wants to protect the identity of whoever comes and lives in his home. And since that tweet, he's had a lot of paparazzi outside his home. So he's kind of like, look, I want them to come into my home and feel safe and feel normal. So he's private, but also I think if you're going to come back at someone, then come back with that screenshot and actually explain what you're doing, because you might encourage other people to do something similar.
Yeah, exactly. The person that I'm talking about is Marcus Rashford, who is currently a footballer. I know you said Gary Lineker's footballer, ex-footballer.
Yeah, ex-footballer.
He's more known for his
Match of the day, you know.
So Marcus Rashford is a 22-year-old footballer, plays for Manchester United, grew up in South Manchester in a place called Wythenshawe. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. And Wythenshawe was once described as the biggest council estate in the UK.
Wow.
So there's a lot of deprivation there. And the primary school that Marcus Rashford went to actually has twice the average number of students on free school meals, twice the national average at that particular school where he was a primary student. And he's spoken about his upbringing in his living with his mum, who was a single mum, in a household with 5 siblings.
Wow.
And how they had to kind of ration their food because they suffered from food poverty. He remembers going shopping and he was the youngest of his 5 siblings, remembers going shopping in Pound World with his mum and buying yogurts and stuff and having to say, okay, so if we've got 7 yogurts, that's 1 yogurt each per day. And yeah, so I saw him talking about that on a BBC interview and explaining why he kind of sent out a petition for the government to give free school meals vouchers to students during the summer holidays. Normally they do it during term time, but because he experienced food poverty himself as a child growing up, and because of the pandemic, he wanted to raise awareness about child hunger that exists in the UK, and so he put out this petition. Got rejected initially, got so much support online, but it got rejected by the government, who said it's not our policy to extend these free school meal vouchers
into the summer holidays.
Yeah, into the summer holidays. It's something we do during term time. But he got even more publicity, and they ended up doing a U-turn on their decision, and they ended up giving families vouchers to get healthy meals. And now he's even got a latest petition out that he wants to extend it to all school holidays. He's got a task force together. He's really, so what he did, he wrote an open letter to the government initially and was like, this is what I want to happen. These are the suggested changes that I want you to do. Got a lot of support, ended up getting an MBE recently, like 2 weeks ago, for obviously all the contributions he's made during the pandemic. So I think that is a young man that's utilising his platform well. And usually we see footballers, yes, we see them in the back of the papers, so sometimes we see them in the front for the wrong reasons, and I think we're seeing him in the news for all the right reasons, and I love him for that.
Okay, ladies, so why do you think it's important to utilise your platform for the good?
I think that in this day and age we all hear about influencers and social media influencers, and I think if you've got a big enough platform, that is exactly what you have. You have influence over a lot of people, and people are likely to value what you say, and whatever energy you're putting out into the world, people are likely to kind of reciprocate or replicate that energy. And I think if you are someone with a big following, you are a footballer, you're a celebrity, whatever job you do, if you're doing something good and you're raising awareness about something in particular, I think it's if you can, I think it's very important to use your platform to do that, because you actually have influence over people. Celebrities these days have more influence over people than political parties do, in my opinion, especially over young people, because sometimes people are disengaged with politics and they feel like there's no one rooting for them. And I think if you're a celebrity and you can provide that voice to shed light on something that is important to you, like Marcus Rashford did, I think it's amazing for you to do that.
Yeah. I echo that. I think that different influencers or celebrities come from communities and they have something about them. We've all struggled in some way, and I think it's really important to provide a voice for those people who are unable to, speak on a bigger platform. And just what he's done there, yes, the government rejected it, and then obviously it gained even bigger traction. He was able to change that. He's going to be, known for that forever, and also that will inspire him to keep doing more. I think it's really, really important that we stay grounded, or people stay grounded, and give back to the communities that they're a part of, because no one's speaking for these people. And if you're not speaking for them, or celebrities aren't speaking for them, it's really difficult to get any change done. So I think it's really important. And people make mistakes, it's fine. You might be involved in other controversy, etc. But at the heart of it, I think giving back, it should be the thing.
And being a voice for the voiceless, essentially.
Absolutely.
But also, I think even if you've got a small platform, why not just whatever you believe in? If you want to discuss social issues, and hopefully it might impact 1 or 2 people at most, but you still made a bit of a difference. I think we can all utilise our platform for the greater good.
Yeah, agreed. And I think whatever you're trying to do, you're going to get criticism from somewhere.
Absolutely.
For instance, Marcus Rashford in particular got criticised for whatever he was trying to do. People saying that it's not the government's responsibility to be feeding every child, and that it's a parent's responsibility. And he's come back and he said, actually, no child should ever go hungry, and I think we can all agree with that. And also, the way he's coming at it from such a human place, and just saying, like, we can't blame children or blame parents for not being able to feed their kids, because there are so many reasons for that. And I think a lot of the time, sometimes mainstream media tend to demonize the poor, and it's like,
or vulnerable groups in general.
Vulnerable groups, and it's like these people sometimes are trying their best, and despite trying their best, they're still like, their child shouldn't be hungry. And he's coming at it from so many layers. He's saying, look, this is why we need to feed the kids, because it has an impact on their education. He feels like it's a child being hungry at home, at school, whatever it is, has a knock-on effect. If they start not doing well in school because they're hungry and they can't concentrate, that leads to homelessness down the line. It leads to crime. It leads to... So the way he's coming at this is from a level that's so deep. He's not just talking about getting the children food.
And he's thinking long-term,
Exactly.
But also back to the media stigmatising people, and if we think about vulnerable groups like refugees, the reason why Gary Lineker has used his platform is because he thinks that the government and UK society in general, they're not doing enough, and also they're very negative. I remember a couple of weeks ago when there were 400 people that came via the channel from Calais to the UK. Instead of thinking, oh, why are these people here, let's help them, all the sort of headlines that I read were so negative. Why are they coming over? Look at the state that they're coming in. Look at the countries that they're coming from. And it's like, hang on a minute. People haven't chosen. These people haven't chosen to be refugees.
A lot of the times they're actually risking their lives to come over
Absolutely,
here.
100%. I think, like you said about Marcus Rashford, we just need to be a little bit more human and actually try to understand where these people are coming from. It's not a choice if they're forced in that position. So I think people like Gary Lineker, Halima Aden, Marcus Rashford are utilising their platform for the good. So long may that continue.
Agreed.
Okay, guys, let us know who you think is utilising their platform in a good way. Drop their names in the comments and maybe we'll read about them as well. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Britain wouldn't be Britain without fish and chips, a national institution, a culinary delight.
Oi, Gary, have you ever thought about where I actually come from?
Well, I suppose not.
You've got refugees to thank for me.
How come?
Well, as it happens, I'm a bit Spanish, a bit Portuguese. 16th century Jewish refugees brought me over.
Call that a history? We came over with French refugees. Protestants, I believe. Settled in the East End after we were chased out of France.
Well, I never.
Funnily enough, it was another refugee who decided to bring me and Fishface together back in the 1860s.
It's true. A guy called Joseph Malin opened the nation's first ever fish and chip shop.
What a history.
Fishtory, Gary. Fishtory.
Ridiculous.
Well, there you go.
What are you doing?
Britain wouldn't be Britain without refugees.
No, don't.